Well, hi everybody. So for the session today, we're going to start standing up on our feet. So please make your way to a standing shape. And what we're going to do is to the degree that you can relax while you're standing, we're going to relax for a little while we're standing. So we're going to take an extra wide stance, maybe as wide or possibly even wider than your mat. If you want to turn out your feet a little bit, you're welcome to. Put a little bend in your knees. Just barely bias the hips backward, not like a big squat. And let your hands come to rest on your belly. In addition, you can allow your shoulders to relax. They'll probably go slightly down and forward. And you can even allow your head to release. I'm kind of leaning into a bit more, almost like support just from the fact that we're balanced here, rather than excessive muscular effort. And just take the awareness down to your feet. We'll start at the base. And just notice. Notice those contact points. Notice how they shift a little. Maybe forward to backward, maybe left to right. You might feel more weight periodically on the outside of your feet than the inside. It's not perfectly stable. Which might be a feature, not a bug, that there's a little bit of wiggle room constantly in there. Once you feel like you've established a relatively solid foundation through your feet, then we're just going to zoom on up and take awareness to the belly. And it might already be happening for you, but see if you can mindfully encourage inhalations to expand your belly. And on exhalations, you'll feel a subtle inward, upward, backward draw. So inhaling, we're feeling expansion. Feeling those low abdominal organs getting pushed down by the diaphragm. And feeling breath fill the abdomen. On exhale, we feel that little backward, inward, upward movement. And just see if you can follow a few more full, deep, and low diaphragmatic breaths. Relax through your shoulders and neck. Stable through your base, down in your feet. And big, full, deep belly breaths. Last few. And just to shift slightly. You can bring the hands up to the rib cage. You're welcome to open your eyes at this point. Maybe get the legs fully straight. And feel your breath here at the sides of the waist and in the sides of the ribs. Feel it expand out on inhale. And feel it contract in on exhale. And as you're breathing here, you can breathe just in a pretty much traditional form of yoga style breathing through the nose. Until these next couple breaths, let's modify. So these next couple exhalations, see if you can create a little sound like ha. Kind of like you're fogging up a mirror. And just notice, feel that when you're doing that sound on exhale, you can really feel the sides of the waist working. You can feel those side muscles engaged. Kind of feel like a little corseting in. Try just two more. Last one. All right. Next, I'm going to hit you with a profile view. We're going to come down to what looks a little more like a squat. Hello, Elijah. We're going to lean the hands into the thighs so you can kind of relax the torso. Lean the hips back so the legs are working. Push the knees slightly open. And just as you reconnect to your breath, feel it all throughout your torso. And for 10 to 12 to 15 exhalations in a row, so everybody will go at a different speed, actively, forcefully squeeze breath out of your torso. It can make a sound, it can make the ha sound, it can be silent. So one way to think of this, and you just keep going, inhale fully and then exhale, excavate from the torso. So what you're going to feel here is sort of like your abdominal muscles, your whole torso is like a sponge. And you're emptying every little nook and cranny of the sponge. This should feel strong, pretty thorough, pretty active. And after these last 5, so you're inhaling fully, everything expands and relaxes. And then as you exhale, nose or mouth or both, but squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release and expand. Last 3, everybody. It's almost like abdominal exercises through pranayama. Two more. Active, full torso, squeezes on exhale, almost like it's a sit-up. Last one. All right. Whew. Let's come back to upright. Let's bring the feet a little closer together. Let's stand with the arms down along our side. You can have your eyes open, straight out at an eye level gaze. So you probably don't, I mean, you might want to observe the screen once in a while, but you're trying to find a gaze that isn't too much skyward bound or floor bound. Just straight ahead, like you're looking at a periscope. You can even very gently modify the head so she goes slightly backwards. That's that retracted chin, so that we've got length coming up through the back of the neck. Shoulders relaxed, collarbones relaxed, heart open. And we want to create a little stability in the belly, like we could absorb somebody throwing a volleyball at us. Want to create strength in your glutes so you just feel like they're turned on and part of the supporting mechanism that holds your low back and your hips and your waist. And with your legs, you want to feel like your quads are engaged, helping to stabilize your knees. And finally with the feet, especially if you're completely barefooted, without socks even, but particularly without shoes, just feel all those points of contact. Feel how stable you can get with your feet, almost like they're gripping, without totally crunching the toes, but a little bit of grippiness. So there's a couple different things you can play with here. I don't want to give you too many details before we move on, but just to help refine this Tadasana. So one vision is using your feet kind of like an eagle, like a big bird with talons. You can imagine you're about to pick up and fly away with your mat. So your feet are engaged, your arches are arched. One other cue, feels a little different, but maybe it connects with you a little bit better. Last one. You imagine your feet are on little plates. And you're just subtly trying to turn the plates out toward like 1 o'clock with right foot, 11 o'clock with left foot. So there's a little bit of engagement. This is strong, active Tadasana. You don't budge. Truly a mountain. Let's bring the hands up to the heart. And just reconnect to your breath. 5 breaths here. Balance from your front and your back, balance from the left and the right. Long and upright through your neck, strong and steady through your legs, active glutes, toned belly, very dynamic feet. One more full breath here. Nice. On an inhale, expand the arms outward and upward. And on an exhale, bend your knees a little and start to hinge from your hips. Just a little bit, maybe halfway down into a traditional squat. From here, extend the arms backward, down along your side. From here, bend your arms in like a bicep curl. And let's repeat. Backward into full extension. Get nice, strong, taut triceps. And bent into like a bicep curl. Nice, strong, active, squeezed biceps. Try 10 more. Extend. Bend. Extend. Bend. Extend. Bend. That's 6 more. Last few. Last one. And then release that. Awesome. Next. We're going to alternate lifting knees. And maintaining the essence of this pose, you can find all sorts of varieties. Intensity, speed, how fast you, how far you drive up the knee. Last few. Okay. Then we're going to pause with the left knee lifted. We're going to reach both arms out like we're holding the dials and turn. And then we're going to switch legs. Like we're driving up the new knee, right side, stable through the left, turn it. Good. Then release. Let's drive up this left knee one more time. Extend out the arms so the palms face down. And do a little drumming action. So your arms should be going a little higher than and a little lower than the shoulders. And then let's switch. Good. And then release that. All right. Let's come back down to our 2/3 squat. Elbows on the knees this time. Pushing the knees open. Rocking the hips back. This one we've hit a couple times virtually. It's a really good shoulder exercise and moving in a different direction than we've gone thus far in today's session. So we're going to reach the arms out like airplane wings. Palms face either forward or downward. Prying the knees open. Rocking the hips back. Using the glutes. From here you're going to turn the palms so they face backward and then sweep the hands onto the tail. So it looks like this. Out like a cross, like a T, and back so the hands wind up right on the tail. And please just try about 10 of those. Last two. Excellent. And from there, let's come up. Come back to center. All right. Another one we've hit a few times in our virtual classes here. Loving this pose the last couple months. A little shoulder and neck release. So we're going to extend the arm out, palm up, let the head tilt toward the palm. Oh, this one's too good. And then as the head comes back to center, you fold the hand onto the shoulder. And as the head tilts away, we lift up this elbow. So you open the arm like you're holding a tray, and you release the head like you were going to land on that tray, on your palm. And then you fold the imaginary tray up into the shoulder, lift the shoulder and elbow, and let the head slide, tilt, laterally bend away. Let's try about 3 more on this side, and then we'll switch. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. All right. Moving on to side 2. Extending out that new right arm. or make sure it's your new side. Head turns. Let me rephrase. Head tilts. It's really not a turn. Head tilts toward extended open arm, open palm. And then head tilts away as the arm lifts. Toward the open palm. Away from the lifted arm. Toward the open palm. And away from the lifted arm. Last two. Oh, man. All right, then let's release that. Oh, goodness. All right. Next, we're going to straddle the mat. I mean, you might not be working with a mat, but just as a reference point, the feet are wider than they've been thus far. Turned out even, toward 11 and 1, maybe even a little beyond. Sit down into the horse stance. Classic stance, and especially in martial arts. A little less so in yoga, but widely done in yoga too. You're going to drop the shoulders down, hug the elbows in, turn the palms up so they're supinated, like you could hold onto a tray. And give this about 2 minutes. If you want to, well, we can collectively try. Let's come back to a little whole body scan. Feel the weight down in your feet. Feet should be working, active. Maybe a little bit of that spreading the mat apart. Up through the inner upper thighs, you're biasing the knees out toward the little toes to keep the work strong. It's okay to push the hips back a little bit and to have a slight tilt forward. So it wouldn't necessarily be like I'm along a wall, but that's okay too. Right? So if like you're riding a horse, you might have a little bit of a forward tilt as you've got a hold of the reins. 5 more breaths. If it feels really good, you sit down deeper into it. Keep working the legs. Keep squeezing back through your shoulder blades. Broaden through your collarbones. Last 2 full deep breaths. Okay, so now the next move, we're going to spin off the left heel so it turns. We're going to pivot the right foot and the left hip forward, or at least in one direction, and then we're going to reach with this left arm. We'll get the hang of it soon. So you come back to the horse, right in the middle, and basically you're just rotating into a lunge. So it's that horse stance in the center, and rotating into a lunge shape. And each time you check in with that lunge, you've got opposite limbs forward. A left leg, a right arm. Or a right leg and a left arm. Let's try about 3 more. Horse in the center. Lunge on the side. Horse stance in the center. Lunge on the side. Horse stance in the center. Lunge on the side. Last one per side. Lunge. Horse stance. Lunge. Come back to center. Take the feet as wide as your mat and come down to a Malasana squat. That's the low all the way down to the ground kind of squat. I know it's not in the cards for everybody, so modify if need be. You can be up in a higher squat like a chair, or you could be in a version of this pose with your heels supported, which makes it more palatable for almost everybody. Or you could be in this pose with your butt on the ground and your knees simply just bent, feet on the floor, which would look like this. Right? 3 options. One minute here. I know I've made talk of it before. Today is not the day for this to manifest. However, one of my favorite sources for movement education, physical therapist and exercise physiologist, one of his assessment tools for strong, healthy, vital, flexible bodies is, can you be in a squat for 10 minutes? This one, just down at the bottom, not the super strong, active working chair squat, just down here. Do you have the range of motion in the ankles, the knees, the back, the shoulders, the neck? Is the strength there? Is the flexibility there? Is the coordination to put it all together there? And if it's not, it's fine. Obviously, we've all got limitations in different areas. But it's kind of a nice thing to work toward, and to gradually get the body to a point where it's pretty comfortable squatting. It doesn't feel like a really strange foreign move. You know, lots of little tiny kids drop down into this movement. Lots of folks from all over the world are in this movement regularly. So it's more of something we've lost access to rather than some special quality we've got to try to gain. It's sort of reconnecting to some of these natural movement patterns. Okay, I know many of you have had to bail. Totally fine, no worries. Last few breaths in a squat. Next, let's get on out of there and come to a seat. Oh. So give the legs a much needed stretch, really extend out through the back of the knees. Okay. So once you are comfortable with your legs now, I know for some of us that was a pretty long squat. We're going to post up on the arms, i.e. reach backward and use them for some support. And then we're going to come to straddle the mat with the feet. Straddle the mat with the feet. And rock one knee in, so that that knee is approximately down on the end of a line from your hip, and your ankle is down on the end of a line from your knee. Whew, goodness. And then we just go back and forth. So right at this moment, kind of like maximum range of motion, there's a little box. Line, line, line. My bones aren't here to close this last line, but it's a pretty straight line from knee to ankle there. So it's like a little box with your shins. Oh my goodness, that feels good. Now, there's two totally different movement patterns we're asking the hips to perform here. This hip's trying to go inward. This one's trying to go outward. Even though they're both going rightward, it's very different functions. And you can choose to emphasize more the inward movement or more the outward movement, or really just try to find some balance. Last few. If it feels really comfortable, you can come off the posts of your arms, which means your chest and thighs are closer together, which is a stronger movement, and it's a little more challenging to balance. Lastly, you can even add a little reach out across that open leg. Or just try like a little lift. Oh my gosh, that feels good. Try one more. You can get kind of creative and explore here. Oh my God. All right. Whew. Next. We're going to shimmy into all fours. So I just happen to have this blanket nearby, so I'm going to put a little extra padding under the knees, but that's just to suit your taste, whatever you like there for your knees. All right, so exercise 1 here. We are going to launch from knees and forearms. Knees and forearms. Going to let the head relax. And from here, it's kind of a slightly different place to launch. Try some cat and dog tilts. So kind of go through the movement pattern that you know so well. Of arching through some extension, the dog tilt. Flexing, rounding through some cat tilt. But just doing it from this angle changes the nature of the pose just a little bit. Last couple. Okay, next. We're going to come to a traditional all fours, but we're going to rock the hips back a little bit. Right, so we're on the hands and the knees, but instead of hips on top of knees, hips are closer to heels. And then we're going to do cat and dog from here. Oh. And as you're ready, let's come back to our original setup, which was elbows down, knees down, and we're going to extend one leg back. You see it there? All right. And then just do little beats up and down with a straight leg. Same leg, bend at the knee, and do little pulses with a bent leg. let's release that. Round 2. New side. Extend the leg so she's about level to the hip just to get going. And then little pulses up and down from there. So even the bottom of the pulse is still holding a pretty significant amount of lift. Keeping your trunk as stable as you can. This should be a pretty robust squeeze for your glutes. And kind of the hamstring, the whole back of the leg, opening the front of the thigh, groin, hip flexor. This is a really good one. Just basic body weight movement. Part 2, bend the knee. So the fulcrum's a little different, but very similar. Lifting and lowering. Even the low point is still a pretty significant lift. Hips stay level, trunk stays strong. Last couple, everybody. All right, and then let's release that. Awesome. Oh, goodness. Next, we're going to come to lie on our side. I think I'll demonstrate from this perspective. You're going to lie on your side and hook the top leg over. Haven't done this one in a while. So I might look counter, but I'm lying on my right side, top left leg hooked over. I can be down on the elbow, you can be down on the forearm or the bicep, or propped up on the hand. We're going to exercise the lower leg. Lift, whoo, and lower. A couple dozen times. And even that low is not too low. You want to keep some height the entire time. Goodness. All right. I didn't mean to stop. All right. About 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's release. Let's change sides. So you're launching onto your new side. You got a top leg anchored on the ground, bottom leg nice and long, and lift and lower that bottom leg. So nice and strong through your inner upper thigh. Try to control it. It doesn't feel like your leg's just flailing around. Maybe even try to hold for a moment at the top. And let's try 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goodness. All right. Next, we're going to come to lie on our back. From your back, everybody, you can have your knees bent and your feet flat and the hands behind the head. We're going to lift up the elbows and we're going to just lift up the head. So now the head's not coming up very high. This has a few functions, just like a little bit of neck release. It sounds counterintuitive because we're lifting the head. But once the head is off the ground, then muscularly we are trying to release and simply let the head be held by the hands. And relax that. We'll try that a couple more times. It's a little bit subtle. Elbows up, head barely lifted. As the head is lifted, trying to let it simply be heavy in the hand. which means there's a little burden for the hands and the arms. There's a little burden for your uppermost abdominals, perhaps. And there's kind of some release in your neck. One more. Okay. This time, relax one arm down along your side. We'll relax the right arm along the side. Keep the left hand behind your head. Lift up your elbow. Lift up your head. A little harder now with only one arm. And then just lift up your right foot as well. Come back down with your foot, down with your head, and release. We'll try that again. Uh-oh. Oh, goodness. This could get dangerous. My sprinklers just came on. All right. We'll see how wet I get. I hadn't planned for this one. All right. Let's make sure we get some more of these abdominal exercises in, though. These are awesome. So you've got head and opposite, and the leg opposite to the arm. Release. Let's plug back into one more on this side. Okay, just to make sure we're all together, everybody, we're switching sides. We've got the new hand behind the head. New hand behind the head. Lift up your elbow. Lift up your head. And then lift up opposite leg. Release. Head, elbow, opposite leg. Release. Last one. And release. Let's go back to side one. Last round. One hand behind the head. One hand on the opposite knee. Lift up your head and your shoulders and aim your knee and elbow toward each other. Fade back down. So we are now holding a knee, holding head, and making this connection. This diagonal cross-lateral connection between the low side at the knee / hip / low abs and the head side / shoulder / elbow / upper abs. Last round, we're switching sides. I hope it's clear at this point, but we've got a cross diagonal kind of movement. It's basically like a mindful small version of big classic bicycle movements for abdominal work. You've got the neck supported. Got full engagement through your trunk muscles. Last 3. 1. A 2. Ay, ay, ay. And a 3. Whew. Let's finally hug knees in. Let's extend both legs out along the floor. One more here. We're going to cross right leg over the left. Kind of like we did for those sideline leg lifts. Engage those inner upper thighs. Same muscles we worked earlier. Squeeze your butt. Stabilize your belly. Bring your hands behind your head. And barely float up your head. So you want to feel zipped up from the knees up to the groin. Active through your low belly. Stable and stimulated through the sides of your waist, like when we did those breaths. And very strong through the top of your trunk, but your neck's still supported. Release. Oh, goodness. Last one with this leg on top. So this is getting us toward a very classic exercise in yoga and beyond, especially in gymnastics too, called the hollow hold. The hollow hold. All right. Release. 2 times only, new leg on top. We're almost done with all this core work. Inner thighs zipped. Glutes active. Belly working. Head supported. Upper abdominals on. Release. And the last one. Inner thighs, glutes, belly, side abs, upper abs. Oh, goodness. Let's release all of that. Uncross the thighs. Hug both knees in toward the chest. And then let's rock up to Dandasana. All right. I don't know how we've missed the sprinklers all this time, but anyway, that was fun. So, Dandasana. We're winding our way down. So once you're up in the staff pose, you're going to bring your hands behind your back. Going to try to get the wrists flush to the sides of the waist, back of the waist. You're pushing the elbows forward and softening the collarbones. And we're going to keep the right arm back there. We're going to take the left arm, reach it forward with the palm up. Bend it straight over. And aim this arm, the high arm, kind of in the direction of the opposite shoulder blade. And additionally, aim this low arm in the direction of the opposite shoulder blade. And if the two arms, or hands, should meet, awesome, cool, let them meet. And if not, keep the distance, no problem. Just keep that forearm on the flush to your backside. Last couple breaths here. This is called Gomukhasana. And then let's release that, shake it out. You can shake it out high, you can shake it out low, you can shake it out to the side. New side. It's got the arms behind to start. Wrists flush to the backside. And we take the new arm forward, right one. Make sure it's just new for you. Reach toward either your own shoulder, the shoulder blade of the same arm, or a little bit of a diagonal toward opposite blade. And then conversely, that lower arm might be reaching up toward the opposite blade as well. Regardless of the distance between your hands, this is a fabulous exercise, whether they connect in your mid-back or whether one hand's on your head and one hand's on your tail. They could literally be 3 feet apart and it's still fine. Good, last big breath here. Great. And then let's release that. Ay, 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 ay. Last time, shake it out. All right. So from here, we're going to just come to one simple seat. Soles of the feet together. Hips open up, kind of like a dictionary lying on the table. Only amount that feels good. Let your hands go forward. Keep the back of the neck long. Let the collarbones and shoulders relax. And hinge forward any amount. Really breathe into the backside of your lungs. Rarely is there a shortage of birds here to add a little vocalization to our session. Always nice. Anyway, everybody, let's slowly come back up. Oh my gosh, that felt good. We're going to come... Well, hello, Elisha Henry. Hello, good boy. All right. All right. So we are going... we're going to come down to... Shavasana, trying to make my way there. All right. Good boy. Oh, he's got a new collar. It looks so nice, sweet boy. Yeah. Oh, he's got a note. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. So, Eli's delivering notes. So, we're sorry about that little diversion there for a moment. So, we're coming onto our back. You guys are probably already there, those of you I can see. We're coming to release the arms along our side. Relax the head a little side to side and find a nice neutral shape for it. And once you've found a nice comfortable shape to rest in, we're just going to do a little 5-minute Shavasana. Anyway, as you're ready, everybody, take your time slowly coming up from corpse if you hadn't already done that earlier. Alright, and once you're back to a comfortable seat, let's just reconnect to our breath for a moment. And please just pause here for a moment and end with a little chant. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. All right, everybody. Thank you for practicing together. Namaste.